Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Well, hearty good Monday morning to all of you out there. We got lots to get to on this Monday show. Been a big weekend. I was out at Bucs practice this weekend. We got lots of Rays to talk about. Pete Rose resurfaces from the crypt. Go back. Welcome into the JP Peterson Show. We appreciate you guys joining us each and every day. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube page where you can put your comments in the comment section, and we'll put them up on the air for you here. And also, don't forget, you can always listen to us on the app, FanStream Sports, all one word, download it, please. I hope you guys had a great weekend. We certainly did. Nick Geddes from Outsider.com joining me here this morning. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, recovering from a busy weekend that I had. Getting the house in order. I'm not a fan of doing all these things. I think I've said it on here. I will never move again. Moving sucks.
Have you got the Home Depot shuttle running? The Lowe shuttle?
The Lowe shuttle is running,
shuttle?
but
Yeah.
There's not a Lowe's in my little vicinity. It's about 20 minutes away.
Ooh,
so
no
it's
good.
a little bit of frustrating. You have to go to Lowe's for one item.
And then go back.
And then huddle
and
back.
Go
That's an hour
Go back.
right there.
Yeah. You try to make a list. I love that part of it. But, there is a great sense of accomplishment setting up your first home. That's a cool thing.
Yes. And
that's a cool thing.
The painting is almost done. Shout out to Casey for going over there today while I'm working and doing those things so I don't have to.
Doing the painting.
Doing the rest of the painting.
Beautiful.
So
that's good.
We're almost there.
Well, congratulations to you. That's awesome. Your first house is a really, really, really cool deal. I bought my first townhouse for $51,000. $51,000.
I won't say
a nice 2-2 on Weatherbyne Way in the great city of Tallahassee. Remember it well, a little duplex.
Well, I won't tell you.
Great.
I won't tell you how much I spent, but it sure as hell was not 51,000. Was not.
That's like an average car now.
Yeah, literally.
But it's cool. All right, lots to get to. Rich Hollenberg's going to join us at 10:30 to talk some Rays baseball. We have questions about the Rays once again. Some very interesting decisions over the weekend, where they took 3 or 4 from the Tigers, which was good, but they hardly look like a championship contender. Although the Yankees are freaking leaking oil like unbelievable. What have they lost 5 straight now? They get swept by the Cardinals. And they've got some injury issues. Their pitching suddenly has sucks out loud. So interesting things going on in Yankee land. But the Rays certainly aren't. I don't think they look like they've turned the corner at all. So we got some questions about the Rays. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. And of course the Buccaneers. We'll get to some other NFL things. One of the greatest things about Buccaneers camp is what's not happening. What's not happening at Buccaneers camp? Second string running backs asking for trades, like Kareem Hunt has now done with the Browns. Suspensions. We have had our share of key injury. Well, one key injury, obviously, but that's just going to happen in football. But the stuff that you can control, like holdouts and all the hold-ins or whatever the hell's going on there, not happening in the Bucs organization, which is good stuff. But we'll start with the Bucs as well. So Rich is going to join us at 10:30. We'll get into the Rays here in just a little bit. But I was out there on Saturday, got to watch the whole practice for the first time. And, one thing that kind of struck me is, first of all, Kyle Trask is not good. He is definitely 100% not the answer. But look, he's still got a long way to go. They're not getting rid of him anytime soon. He's really not. He's getting a chance to show what he can do, and it has not been good. Another 2 interceptions on Sunday, a couple on Saturday as well. He just does not look the part. He doesn't have a very strong, accurate arm. He's not making the right decisions. He's just not good. Blaine Gabbert, on the other hand, pretty good. Looks really good. And one thing that struck me on Saturday, which was I haven't seen a lot of people write about, is there were about 3 or 4 plays, I think 3 or 4 plays where Brady and the receiver were not on the same page. Now, this is the second week in camp, and as far as I could see, because sometimes you can't really see as well as you would like to see, obviously. One of them was Scotty Miller. I think another one was Jalen Darden. So it's not necessarily, and Mike Evans, of course, is not out there with a hamstring, which I think is actually a blessing, to be quite honest. He doesn't need to be out there practicing, folks. Just, get in shape, get ready for the regular season. He doesn't need to be out there. So that's fine. Not worried about that. But when you're not on the same page as your receiver, these are the mental mistakes that Brady hates. And normally he goes apeshit when that stuff happens. And he was just kind of stoic about the whole thing. I mean, I saw him talking to Tyler Johnson a little bit, or I'm sorry, Russell Gage about a route, but I don't even think he was one of those guys. But for the most part, he just shook his and didn't even shake his head. No, that's a big deal. And that was like, I was like that's not the Brady we know and love. Now I heard I wasn't at Sunday's practice, but I heard Sunday was a little bit more animated. There was a couple of pictures by Tyler Johnson and Jalen Darden that he got a little bit more animated, which is good because I want to see Brady engaged. I want to see that Brady that we saw in the last two training camps where he's engaged and he's up on everybody's ass when they make a mistake. And coming off 3 days where he wasn't at practice and he showed up on Saturday, and I was just that just kind of struck me. And I talked about it to some of the media guys, and it was like, yeah, that's not vintage Brady. So I don't know what's going on with him. Probably nothing. Maybe he's pouting about Ryan Jensen still. The personal day last week, we don't know what the hell's going on. We just hope it's not health related with any of his parents because they've had a rough go of it as of late. But it's just, I know this is absolutely 100% nitpicking, but this is where things start, right? This is where things start, and they kind of mushroom into stuff. So, it's probably just the heat of training camp, and he's just not into it yet as much as he normally would be. The time off, whatever it is, they still got a long way to September 11th. I'm not concerned about it, but I'm noting it. Okay, duly noted. That's all there is to it. Couple other things on yesterday's practice. Again, Logan Ryan with a pick of Gabbard, Antonio Winfield Jr., who I thought had a great practice on Saturday. We haven't talked a lot about him, but I really believe this, and this is why I keep talking about this defense. Logan Ryan, Keon O'Neal's knocking the hell out of people when he gets ready to knock Dolphins around. That's going to be fun on Wednesday and Thursday. I'm telling you, and this defense is really dominating this Bucs offense. And if this Bucs offense is going to be good, it's going to be explosive. But if this defense is holding its own, that's the best sign possible of camp. And I think we're going to be talking a lot about this defense, and it's going to have to be good because when you look at the quarterbacks that they're facing, I mean, it's quarterbacks in the game. With the exception of Josh Allen, I think every other top 10 quarterback is on their schedule. So they better be damn good, and I think they will be. They stay healthy.
Yeah, the defense, from everything that I've heard and that you've heard and you saw with your eyes, is that they dominated the offense this weekend. And, that's normal when camp starts. The defense is always going to be ahead of the offense, but it lends well for the Bucs because I took a look at their schedule again, and we had talked about it, how tough it is. I guess I kind of forgot about just how tough it is. Yeah. And there's just especially the first 11, 12 weeks of the season, there's not much layups in that schedule to start. No. They're going to get the best of the best, right away, and some really good offenses. The quarterbacks that they're going to be facing, you're talking about the best 10 quarterbacks in the game. You're facing probably half of them or 6 or 7 of them. It's really insane. So the Bucs defense, the fact that they're out there against Tom Brady and the rest of the offense at dominating, I'm excited about that. I'm excited for Wednesday and Thursday against the Dolphins, an offense that looks like it's going to be much improved. I want to see how they stack up against them. We'll see where the Dolphins are. We'll see where the Bucs defense really stacks up. I want to see the matchup against Tyreek Hill. Who's going to be on him? Is it going to be Carlton Davis? Is it going to be Jamel Dean? Who's it going to be? I want to see how they hold up against somebody like that. Camp too. Yeah, Jamel Dean's had a fantastic camp. And, we forget too, I think, again, is Pro Football Focus the Bible for everybody? Maybe not.
Not for everybody.
Not for everybody.
It's a tool.
It's a tool to use. Yeah. And by their metrics, Jamel Dean was one of the 10 best cover corners last year. Yeah. So I think better than Carlton Davis in some respects. So contract year for him. So far through camp, he's been excellent. That's a positional group that I think has turned into a strength for the Bucs now.
If Jamel Dean can catch the football, he's going to have 5 to 7 interceptions. He always puts himself in good position to do so, just can't catch the damn ball. So, yeah, if you got Carlton Davis, who's considered, a top 10 corner, and Jamel Dean from the PFF standpoint, one of the better cover guys, and Antoine Winfield, and he's going to be allowed to do more creative stuff because you've got solid solid guys, and Mike Edwards and Logan Ryan and Keanu Neal. You just got so much depth in the secondary, I think, that you haven't had before. It's a lot thicker than it used to be. And Zion McCollum, this 5th-round pick, I mean, he looks the part out there. He's starting to really, really get it. And Scott Reynolds told us last week he thinks he's going to start at some point this year. So that's saying something, especially with the talent that they got out there. So they're going to need it. I mean, look at it. You start with the Cowboys first, which is kind of good because their receiving core is all beat up right now. And they're expecting to get guys back late, but they won't be at their full go. I would think September 11th to open the season. New Orleans Saints, I mean, look, Jameis has got a whole new cast of characters. And the only good thing about that game is likely Alvin Kamara will not be playing in that game. And he's such a huge part of their offense. And then you get Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes back to back. You get a respite with the Falcons, the Steelers, and then the Panthers. But then, October 27th, here comes Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, and followed by Matthew Stafford the next week. And the Rams, both at Raymond James Stadium, back to back, those two guys in the weeks. Interesting to note that Matthew Stafford is dealing with a sore elbow right now. And that's a thing. That's a thing. If your elbow is sore at this point, it's not going to get much better the rest of the year. And, his entire game is that arm. And if he's got any issues with inflammation in the elbow, that is not going to be good for him, because if he has to start getting shots and stuff on that elbow, it's going to make him make him less accurate. It's just not going to be good. So keep an eye on that. Then they got Deshaun Watson up in Cleveland, which by this time, I would think would be back in December if he's not suspended for a whole year, which I don't expect that to happen. Then you got the 49ers out there. Then you got the Bengals and Joe Burrow and Kyler Murray the next week.
Doesn't let up.
I mean, it just doesn't let up. It's just one right after another. The only respites you get are within the division for the most part, except Jameis. I mean, the Saints are always going to be tough. So you look at that entire schedule, and this defense, their overall numbers as far as yards and points given up will probably not be great. But given the schedule that they're playing, they're going to have to play extremely well for this team to win, and I think they will. And again, this team, the over/under is 11.5 on wins, so you got to get to 12 to be a winner in there. I would take the under, but it doesn't mean I don't think this team is going to be tremendous. It's just a really, really tough schedule, and all these games are close. That's the way the NFL goes. So most interesting. But that defense, I think if they can stay healthy, especially up front with Akeem Hicks and Vita Vea and Will Golston and the guys behind them, I think in the rotation, going to be tremendous.
Yeah, and we talked about it too last year. It's the fact that the experience and the depth that they've built there, they're not relying on any rookies to really come on day one and be a guy. They're not having to do that. And that's the second straight year that they're not having to do that. And you look around the league, I feel like there's other rookies that have to step in so often around the league, and it's always growing pains. And the Bucs don't have that. When you bring in a veteran like Logan Ryan and Keanu Neal, who by all respects is having a really good camp, and is starting to kind of separate himself and maybe carve out a role there. So keep an eye on that. It's another little low-cost signing, underrated move.
Absolutely.
I'm sure if you polled most people in the NFL and asked you, where's Keanu Neal out, they probably couldn't tell you. Nope. But he's a Tampa Bay Buccaneer, and he spoke, I think, at the end of last week, and very impressive there. So, yeah, the Bucs defense looks really, really good. And I was going to transition here to the other big battle at camp, which is going on the offensive line, because we had assumed all along that it was going to be in the middle, Stenny, Hainsey, and Shaq Mason. And I started hearing this name, and is
Brandon Walton.
Brandon Walton.
Yeah, I was out there on Saturday. I'm like, who's 73? Is that Frank Middleton from the day? No, 73 is Brandon Walton from Largo.
Yeah, local kid.
Played at Florida Atlantic. But he is now in the mix to be the starting left guard.
Well, yeah,
a big kid. He moves people. I'm watching him in individual drills. He doesn't look out of place next to Gadecki and Stinney. He could be a player. He was a tackle in college, so he's got real good athletic ability.
6'5", 300. The size is there.
Yeah, he's a really pleasant surprise.
And it tells you the trust they have in him, because on Saturday I saw that he was taking all the first team reps, and then on Sunday On Sunday, they had Stinney doing it. So that tells you that there's an open competition there between those two guys. And I believe Gadecki has been running with the two. So it appears they're going to take it slow with him right now. We still got a ways to go.
He got a couple scraps yesterday.
He's a physical player.
Yeah.
He's a physical player. But that tells you right there, you got 3 guys going for one spot on that line. And then you can't forget about Nick Leverett, who has had a really good camp as well. That's another position that the Bucs just haven't had a lot of depth on their offensive line. I feel like in the last few years, I mean, you look what happened last year when they had to go to Josh Wells, and it wasn't pretty. And I know it's hard.
And Josh was a little banged up on the ankle too. I thought that was a terrible decision. Move Kappa out to tackle and put Stinney in, but they didn't.
Water under the bridge now. But no, that's just, again, the Bucs have reinforced that part of their team, the weaknesses that they have. And I know it's hard to find quality offensive linemen, but it looks like the Bucs finally have a surplus of them. And according to the other guy, Fred Johnson from Florida, I know is still in the mix for a backup tackle spot. So
he's a big boy.
A lot of competition in there. And again, that's another reason why I just don't think the Bucs, it's in their plans to bring in a free agent center right now or go get somebody on the trade market. I truly think they believe in the guys they have there.
Yeah, there's just a lot of talent out there, and you don't know, because it's kind of, they're competing against each other there. By the way, Rachaad White, I'm telling everybody in their fantasy drafts, late round pick, because if Fournette gets injured at all, he's going to be the every down back. I mean, Gio Bernard, by the way, I think is having a good camp as well. I think he's going to be more in the mix. We kind of forget about him because he was just injured all of last year, and he was having a good training camp last year. I thought he was going to be really in the rotation, but never really got healthy enough to compete. But Rachaad White had a couple of touchdown runs yesterday in the full contact, had a long run. He's got great vision. I just think that's a kid that's going to be, I think he's going to be a very productive player in this league. And I think he's going to steal a lot of time, especially later in the season from Lenny Fournette. Fournette looks great too, by the way. And he looks like he's having a great time out there, but you got to have depth at that position. And I think the Bucs do. I'm not going to be too terribly upset if we got to go to Rachaad White in certain circumstances. I'm anxious to see what this cat can do. He is the antithesis of what Rojo was. Rojo was the crazy, freakish athlete. I mean, when the ball was in his hands and he wasn't fumbling it early on in his career, he was electric. I mean, he was electric, but he never really had the intensity, the football IQ, the maturity that this kid has, Rachaad White. And that's such a big part of being a pro, and especially a running back in this league where you got to step up and block and know your assignments. And if you don't do it, you're going to get the quarterback killed, and that doesn't play here. That's why Lenny is so important to this team. But Rachaad White has been a really, really exactly what they had hoped he would be. And to get that cat in the 3rd round was a freaking steal. And Cade Otton, by the way, he had 3 touchdowns yesterday. We said, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of huge impact from this rookie class. I might be changing my mind on that because I think McCollum's going to play a lot. Your 5th round pick, Cade Otton. If Gronk doesn't come back, and I still think he might. If Gronk doesn't come back, that kid's going to get some touches, and Brady is starting to really like him. And then you look at Rachaad White. I think there's no question he's going to get a lot of play. Gadecki, who we thought might get the most play, might be the odd man out here. And of course, Logan Hall up front has gotten rave reviews as well. So I think this draft class may be sneaky good impact all over the field.
It's all positive right now.
Yeah.
It's all positive right now. And I'm curious to see what happens when we get into the preseason game because these guys are going to play a lot. I think the Bucs are definitely going to take a very, very, conservative approach with their starters in this preseason game. Similar to how Jacksonville, I think they had 22 guys out for that game. And that's a team, by the way, that's not even where the Bucs is. Doesn't have a lot of veterans. Yeah. And they still sat out their guys. I think the Bucs, you're not going to see many veterans in there when we get to this game against Miami. It's a good showcase for Kyle Trask to get some reps with some guys in game time. I mean, if I'm the Bucs with Kyle Trask, I would play him probably 3/4 of that game. I'd start with Gabbert maybe the quarter 1, and I'd give Trask the rest of the game at this point because he needs it, and a lot of these other guys need it as well.
I think Gabbert needs some playing time too, because if he has to step in, and with this offensive line, and Hainsey, by the way, I wasn't there for that particular period, so I didn't see it, but there were a couple of blitz periods yesterday where Gill came scot-free and would have been a big hit on Brady. You just can't have that. up the middle. And I don't know if that's bad calls by the interior guys or they just don't know where to go because they're going to get a lot of double A gap. You have a rookie center in there essentially with Hainsey. You're going to get a ton of A gap blitzes, guys coming, guys backing out. They're going to be playing games all up in that interior. That's where they're going to attack this Buccaneers team. And if Hainsey doesn't have it and they're not making the right checks and the communication is not good, that's the Bucs season right there. And I'm still firmly in the camp of go out and get a veteran center. I just, and it's nothing against Hainsey. It's just the way the game is played and where your emphasis is on this team. And it's all about number 12. And if you can't protect him and those up the middle, when guys come running scot-free up the middle, that's when your quarterback gets hurt. And that's when Brady is going to throw the ball away or just, if he can't in time, he's going to get hit. That's not good. Can't play that game. Not here. So, but still no sign of that happening.
No, I think I'm kind of moved on from that aspect of trying to go get a center because of the depth that I think they've built now in that offensive line and the trust that Harold Goodwin has with these guys. I think it's good competition. And listen, we've talked about it. When you're playing in front of Tom Brady, your ass is on fire to be the best you can be. We know that. Donovan Smith had a career year last year behind Tom Brady. Ryan Jensen, I know he had potential when he got here. Since he's been with Tom Brady, he's turned into an all-pro center, arguably, right? Ali Marpet's play had improved when he got here. Tristan Wirfs has been fantastic since he's gotten here with Tom Brady. All these guys seem to play better because of the guy that's behind them. They understand it, and I don't think they're going to do anything to let him get killed. And if anything happens right away, like we've said, Jason Licht is very reactionary in a good sense that he'll make a move right away and won't let it snowball. So I think that's something for maybe down the line. At the moment, I think I'm fine rolling with what they have.
All right, we'll agree to disagree on that one. But I think the Bucs are probably playing it right. They feel like there's not some rush to sign J.C. Treader, or there may be some other options out there that are still there, and they want to see what Hainsey's about. Let him get through the Dolphins joint practices, see him go up against another team. He's going up against Vita Vea every day, so they're
can only help.
Yeah, they can only help. But again, it's not. He's still his teammate, so it's not going to be as intense as maybe it will be for other teams. All right, Rich Hollenberg's got to move to 11:15, so we'll go ahead and kind of transition into the Rays here. And a good weekend, taking 3 or 4 from the Tigers. I do have some questions, though. I do have a lot of questions. First and foremost, Shane McClanahan, what's going on with him? He looked pretty good, I think, for the most part, but I don't know if he ran out of gas or what happened in the 7th inning. He starts getting knocked around against the Tigers in what was a 2-1 game right there. So he leaves 2 on, and then they go to your boy, Yaka Bellis. Yaka, what is his name?
Being disrespectful right now,
Yeah,
aren't you?
I am being disrespectful.
You know damn well what his name is.
I suck. Not good. Why do you, in a 2-1 game right there, go to that guy? Because he just got here and it's his turn with 2 guys on. That's, in a 2-1 game, that's the game right there. That's the highest leverage, almost the highest leverage situation you have. And it just felt like that was a give up. And he goes 2/3 of an inning, gives up 3 runs, gives up the 2 inheritance runs, 5 runs score. And next thing you know, Yu Chang's in there throwing 40-mile-an-hour pitches. That was a head scratcher for me.
It's a head scratcher for me because, again, I go back to Jason Adams, your guy in those situations, in my opinion.
Yeah.
High leverage guy. It's a 2-1 ball game. The Rays need to win as many games as they can right now. You can't afford to just be balking games away.
Right.
And I look at Jason Adams. He hasn't pitched since the first game of that series against Detroit, or the second game. So he only pitched once this entire 4-game set, right? He's only pitched 3 times in general since we've gotten to August. So he's rested. He's well rested. And when he's in there, he's usually locked down. So it's not like there's much going on his arm right now. So get him in there. Jacob Yacobonis, his career has never shown that he can pitch at the major league level. He never has. He's just another guy the Rays have picked up off waivers. He's got a nice, I think he was described as like the Chaz Rowe type guy where he has a really good slider and he's one of those specialty guys. Well, it wasn't sliding against Detroit on Saturday.
No,
it was not. And to me, it felt like the Rays just kind of said, all right, we're content with just tomorrow, because it made sense because we saw yesterday they decided to go full bullpen and they wanted to keep everybody healthy. Jason Adam didn't even pitch in that game yesterday, by the way. So again, I'm just wondering, would it have hurt just to go to him right there, and maybe you get out with a 4-game sweep instead of 3 or 4?
Right. In that clutch situation right there.
And of course, that's contingent on the Rays hitting as well, which clearly they did not have any interest in doing.
Yeah, they went 18 innings against Detroit and scored 1 run until 2 outs of the 9th yesterday, which was a great rally, although it was more about Gregory Soto probably missing the strike zone, and they picked up some nice walks. They got a big hit from Brandon Lowe.
Yeah, they got a lot of good hits from everybody. I believe they're the second team in MLB history to do what they did yesterday, to be in the 9th inning with 2 outs.
Depending on who you read, like some say it was the first one ever to score 7 runs with 2 outs in a scoreless game at that particular point. You know, kind of one of those quirky stats, whatever. They got it done in the right times. But I just look at the whole series, and I'm just I'm kind of about it. And Drew Rasmussen yesterday, 33 pitches, and you pull him? I mean, you talk about wearing out the bullpen. What was that all about? And the bullpen did a great job, by the way, as they always do. But how do you pull a starter after 33 pitches?
Well, that's
because to me, Shane McClanahan was lights out, pitching at 6 and 7 innings for the entire season. He has that 2-week break for the All-Star game, basically, and he hasn't been the same since. It's lack of activity that I think is hurting this team. Whatever they're doing doesn't work. Look how many guys they have on the IL. And I don't know what the hell it is. I'm not an expert here to say what exactly they should be doing, but I do know this: what they are doing is not working. I mean, I should say this. Results are good, but I think they could be better if they had more healthy pitchers.
100%. And it's a tough situation for Kevin Cash, because he has to monitor some of these guys. Because, I mean, Drew Rasmussen, I tuned in yesterday, actually, in the 4th inning. I missed the first 3 innings. So I tuned in. I'm like, where's Rasmussen? The game's 0-0.
Well, I record every game. I was actually watching it last night. And I played golf in the afternoon. And it was, and I'm like, man, he was dealing.
Yeah,
That's what I
saw. And I threw it out on Twitter. I'm just like, can somebody please give me an explanation for this?
Oh.
And of course, in the moment, I'm not even worrying about what's happened with him in the past. He's had 2 Tommy John surgeries. It's been a long time since he's gotten this many innings. And I think he's up to past 90 now for the season, which, again, is still not that much, honestly, in the grand scheme of things. But I guess for a guy that's young, just converted to become a starter, okay. But I looked at it from the time. It's like, the Rays hitting at that moment had proven to me that they just could not get anything going against Detroit. Drew Rasmussen's your second best starter. I look at the numbers. The ERA is under 3.
Yeah.
So he's in the top probably like 20 or 30 guys in the league right now under ERA. That shows you how good he's been lately. And he's dealing no hits, 33 pitches. The bullpen, to me, has always been an issue going forward, where they seem to burn these guys out. And they're obviously working with a makeshift bullpen anyway because of all the injuries. I couldn't understand it at the time.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
Of course it worked out, but then I see, an article that was written by the Tampa Bay Times, and it said that the Rays are concerned about McClanahan's innings. They're concerned about Rasmussen's innings. They're concerned about Springs' innings, and they're concerned about Corey Kluber's innings.
Shut them all down.
And I'm just like, that's the whole entire rotation. And I guess my question is, if you're in a playoff run right now, like the Rays are, and you're really fighting to keep your head above water before the reinforcements get here, the reinforcements are not coming to the starting rotation.
No.
And
there could be one.
Maybe, but that's still a little bit of a ways away. And you have 4 guys, and if they're all going to be kind of load managed down the stretch, I guess I wonder how often is it going to work out like it did yesterday, especially when you have to face better teams, because it's Detroit, for crying out loud.
Right. Well, and speaking of that other guy, Tyler Glasnow. Glasnow is completely healthy, according to Snyder, the pitching coach, who popped a calf muscle, by the way, so get well.
It's on brand for the Rays.
It's so on brand. Even their pitching coach gets hurt walking out of the dugout, for God's sakes. So he's throwing 99, tweaking his curveball. He's been called fully healthy, and yet there's still some question whether this guy's going to pitch, and we have 2 months plus playoffs left in the season. What are we doing? And they're paying the guy. And look, I understand that you're not going to go out there and say, hey, throw 100 pitches, but he's got to start pitching in rehab assignments, and they need him. Like, every game is important. And especially if your starter is going to go 3 innings like Rasmussen did, can he not give you 3 innings? If they're saving him just to trade him in the offseason, I don't know. At some point, you're in the playoff hunt. You got to try to win something. I mean, look what the Braves did. They got hot at the right time. And there's a lot of guys coming back for the Rays right now. And the difference between hosting that wild card and not hosting the wild card, having to go on the road for a 3-game series, is probably going to be a game and a half. And if you can get, 4 or 5 starts out of Glasnow, why would you not want to do that? He's one of the best pitchers in the game. If he's fully healthy, let him pitch. He's going to be pitching on the side anyway. He's going to be throwing bullpens. Let him freaking pitch.
Well, then again, when he gets back here eventually, how many pitches are they going to allow him to throw a game?
Whatever it is, it's quality pitching and it's quality starting.
It makes me wonder, is he going to be a bullpen type guy to when he gets back here?
Have him be a starter. I mean, an opener, so to speak.
From the words of
build him
here,
up.
From the words of him here, he says, and I quote, "I feel like I'm like 2021," referring to what he was pre-injury. He feels like he's that guy right now, and of course, he's kind of non-committal right now if he's going to even pitch this year. He said definitely next year, this year, maybe. Who knows, is what Tyler Glasnow said. And I think that has to come down to the fact that he doesn't know if the Rays are maybe going to allow him to get back out there. I don't know. But it's an encouraging sign. I mean, a guy throwing 98, 99. And, I don't want to compare him to Jacob deGrom because deGrom is the best pitcher on the planet. But deGrom's had a lot of injury issues as well. And I don't know if you've noticed him in his 2 starts since he's come back.
Damn near unhittable.
Yesterday, he went 5 1/3 no hit innings, and he struck out 12. And by the way, his first 18 sliders he threw, 18 swinging strikes. Unhittable.
Yeah.
Okay. And this guy has come back from injury and has been that good. And I understand that's Jacob deGrom and Tyler Glasnow is not in that league. But the first half of last year, Tyler Glasnow was one of the best pitchers in baseball.
He was unhittable.
So I think given what I've seen from deGrom and some of these other guys who have come back, Verlander, who's having a Cy Young year after missing a whole year, I don't see as much risk there. And again, for a guy who you may or may not keep after this year, what's it hurt to let him get out there?
Well, what it hurts is if you can trade him and get those young prospects, right? Once again, young prospects, you can stay competitive on the cheap, which has always been the number one goal of Stu Sternberg. And I don't think they want to risk putting him out there and, God forbid, win games and screw up his trade value. Where I say, throw him out there and let everybody see that he's good to go now and he can pitch. And I think his trade value goes up. But the Rays have always been very, very cognizant of that trade value and what they can get because that means money in their pockets. And you never get to the point where, hey, we're trying to win a World Series here. And look, this team as it's constituted right now doesn't look that way. But what happens when they get Ramirez back, when they get Franco back, when they get Manuel Margot back, when they get Glasnow back? Pete Fairbanks just came back and he's throwing 101. He was unhittable yesterday.
Yeah.
And they got more guys coming back.
You have the trio or at least the duo of Chargois and Fireisen who are in AAA. It doesn't seem like Fireisen's too far behind him.
Right.
I mean, the Rays, I'm telling you, that's the only thing that's keeping me optimistic right now for the playoffs. I'm not worrying about the regular season. Of course, they have to win in the regular season to even get in there.
Right.
But I'm optimistic about it because once they have a full slate of arms there, they're going to be a dangerous team. And the lineup, I'm telling you, when you write it out, it's a dangerous lineup.
But yeah, when you get everybody back. But at this point, if you're thinking about, we got to protect this guy, we got to protect this guy, we got to protect this guy, what are we protecting him for? Is it the idea to go out and win baseball games?
Well, I think also too the Rays are focused on. There's a part of them that says, okay, well, next year is going to be different. But again,
I'm so effing tired about next year. Protect this guy, limit his innings. Next year, prospects, this guy, go win effing games. Can anybody just say, hey, let's go play. Let's play baseball. It's freaking baseball. And I'm going to tell you this. The more you protect guys, you know what that does? It just delays them getting hurt. They're going to get hurt. They're going to get hurt. So sooner or later, they're going to get hurt. I'm not saying everybody's got to throw 120 pitches every time they go out, but 33 pitches, that's ridiculous. You're not building up any arm strength. You're not getting used to going deep into games where you can win games and win series by protecting your bullpen and having those guys fresh. Where everything is about protection and let's bubble wrap this guy. And you got more people injured on the list than anybody, probably because they're sitting on their ass all the time doing nothing. And when they actually have to go play, they get hurt.
Well, that was part of what Kevin Cash said. They thought about even pushing Rasmussen to Tuesday and going full bullpen on Sunday. But the worry there was then you'd have all the other guys having too much rest.
Exactly.
And
too much rest
it.
for pitchers is not good. And you're seeing that in Shane McClanahan right now. He was freaking just mowing people down. And what happens? Oh, we got to get him out. 71 pitches after the All-Star game because he hasn't pitched. I mean, you're just making things worse. Look, I know Kyle Snyder, and they know a lot. They get a lot more feedback than we get. But sometimes I think the whole philosophy of this organization is just protect players more, and it's not working. First and foremost, it's not working. So maybe they need a different approach. Go hire Leo Mazzoni or something.
I don't know, but I tell you what, I feel bad for Glasnow because I think, it's only been 2 starts here where he hasn't been especially great, but I think his Cy Young candidacy is kind of over. I think it's over right now.
Who, Shane?
Yeah, the whole Cy Young's over because it's amazing how your numbers look after 2, rough outings.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at like this guy Verlander, that guy Verlander, the ERA for him is I think 1.71. This Dylan Cease for Chicago, 13 starts in a row, 1 earned run or less, an MLB record. McClanahan, besides anything, I think his Cy Young, he has an uphill battle to get himself back into that contention.
Well, he's got to get back in there, yeah.
But he's going to have to really turn it on here.
Well, it would help if, when you're in a 2-1 game, you don't bring in the worst reliever you have with 2 guys on. That'll help his ERA. If you bring in Jason Madam and he doesn't allow any inherited runners to score, that'll help.
Yeah.
Instead of bringing – I tell you what, Shane McClanahan would be the first one to look at the guy coming in after him with 2 of his runners on and go, what the F are we doing? Would he not?
I'm sure, probably.
If I'm Shane McClanahan right now, I'm telling my agent, get me the hell out of here. Seriously. You could tell that guy's a bulldog and he wants to pitch.
Oh, of course he does. All these guys do. Rasmussen said it yesterday that after the 3 innings, he knew that he was going to be pulled eventually. He didn't know when. And after the 3 innings, he was like, yeah, I kind of was starting to hide from Kevin Cash so he wouldn't find me.
Well, it's not Kevin Cash you need to be hiding from, partner, unfortunately. Joe F says, it doesn't work in the playoffs. Look at how our bullpen is in the playoffs. They are wore out by the time they get to the playoffs. Yeah, because their starters aren't going deep enough in games, and even when they're good, they're not allowed to. So whatever they're doing ain't working. And Kyle Snyder, I think, is a great pitching coach, but I'm not necessarily sure he's the one that directs as far as how much work they get. I don't know what their philosophy is, but whatever it is, it's not working. It's not working. All right, we'll take our first break. We'll come back on the other side and get into some of the NFL stories that are out here. We'll also have the infamous Pete Rose audio for you. He resurfaced yesterday, saying all kinds of nice words on the broadcast that I don't think the broadcasters were too happy to be working with Pete Rose. So we'll get it all in when we come back. Stay with us. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing? Constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Golden Diamond Source. Hey, guys, they got guys' jewelry there, too. I know we always talk about gifts for the ladies, but if you're looking for that sweet gold chain, a necklace, or the fashion rings a lot of guys are wearing now, or bracelets, a lot of cool stuff there. If you want to do a Wander Franco and get something that's Franco 5 or a 5 or whatever your favorite number is, they can do all that stuff. Anything you want to design, they can do it for you there at the Golden Diamond Source. So that's kind of cool. If you're looking for a Rolex watch or any of those collector's watches or just those baller watches, they got a huge selection there as well. It's kind of fun to go in there, try them on, and there's some beautiful watches in there. Ones I can't afford, but it's kind of fun to try them on every now and then. And of course, if you're thinking to get engaged, there's no better place to go than the Golden Diamond Source because of their staff and their friendly staff. It's just like going in and being with family because they are family, right? It's the Weintraub family, and they do such great things in our community. Their Hands Across the Bay charity has done such amazing things for the victims of domestic abuse. So we say support those companies that support your community in so many ways, and none better than the Gold and Diamond Source. So check them out, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. All right. Pete Rose made a comeback yesterday. Pete Rose. And I got to tell you something about Pete. Pete was probably my favorite player growing up. I modeled my batting style after him. Even did a little switch hitting because of Pete Rose. Did slid head first, diving. Charlie Hustle. Loved that guy as a ball player. And they say never meet your heroes, right? Because that guy is a grade A asshole. He's not a good human being and rarely has been during his life. And he just continued to show that yesterday. And for everybody that wants him in the Hall of Fame, I always say this, folks, Pete Rose is in the Hall of Fame. His bat's in the Hall of Fame, his cleats in the Hall of Fame, his accomplishments are all over the Hall of Fame as the hit king. He just doesn't have a bust there. Or I guess they don't do busts. What do they do there? It doesn't have a plaque at the Hall of Fame. And part of that is because of the gambling allegations. I'm not going to reset that all here. So his accomplishments are in the Hall of Fame. But this was him yesterday, and this is why he's been banned from baseball. Listen, the words that he says here are not that bothersome. It's just the complete disrespect for the guys in the broadcast booth. You don't go on a day baseball game and use the word cock and shit, okay? Don't do that. I mean, people know what you listen to a podcast, you're going to be subject to that. People know that. You're mostly adults watching this or listening to this. And so this was Pete Rose going on in a mainstream baseball game in the daytime, telling a story. And you could tell the announcers were not too cool about this because it's just completely disrespectful.
Joe, I hit a cock-high fastball. And, and Joe didn't know what to say. Joe said, no shit.
Yeah. It just, you can't say waist high. You can't say, he's just doing it to piss people off because he just doesn't care.
Well, the thing to me, it's like the announcers didn't laugh with him.
No.
They didn't say a word.
It was a polite chuckle.
Polite little chuckle at the beginning when he said that. Probably more out of shock that he just said that.
Yeah, that's what it was.
On their broadcast.
Because they later said, we don't have a 7-second delay. He's like, oh, sorry.
So when this story first came out, I remember this like a month ago, and I remember it was like the headline, Pete Rose to make first appearance in Philadelphia ballpark in some odd years. And I'm like, okay, and I guess I just didn't understand they were going full on Pete Rose here in the broadcast booth and everything. And you kind of understand why Major League Baseball has tried to separate themselves from this guy because of what you just said. The Hall of Fame thing for me, I mean, I've been telling everybody that will listen, why is he not in the Hall of Fame? He's, the numbers speak for themselves. The gambling thing to me, I don't really care as much about it as other people may do. I didn't live through it, but Major League Baseball at this point, I mean, you have to help yourself at some point.
Right.
And Pete Rose continues not to do that with his words. And can you imagine if Rob Manfred gave him 10 minutes or whatever to speak at the podium on national TV? It ain't happening.
First of all, I know I'm in the minority here, but I get the gambling thing. If you got managers who are making decisions about who goes in as who's going to pitch next and who's not going to pitch, who's going to start, what your lineup is, and you're betting on your own team, well, you never bet on them to lose. It doesn't matter. You think a degenerate like Pete Rose is not, if a gambler says, hey man, you got to make sure you lose this series or lose these games in the next week, or you owe us $1 million. You're $1 million in debt to us. You get that done and we wipe it clean. You don't think that ever happened in Pete Rose's degenerate life as a manager? If you don't think that happened, you're just an idiot. You have no idea how this stuff works. Pete Rose is all about Pete Rose. All about Pete Rose. And when you're banned from baseball and you show no remorse, and then you come back and do this stuff. And by the way, everybody else knows what Pete Rose is all about. The people in baseball, which is why they want him away from the game. So listen, folks, if you want to get on your soapbox about Pete Rose being in the Hall of Fame, his accomplishments are in there. He doesn't have to be. And he just, this is the type of stuff that gives old white guys a bad name. He's a dinosaur. The dude's a dinosaur. And I'm not trying to be woke here, but it's disrespectful. He's a self-admitted pedophile. I mean, do people really want to support this guy?
I mean,
he's not a good human being.
I mean, do you want to hear the answer he gave here?
Yes, I do. Yeah. Let's listen to this classic Pete Rose.
You weren't here, but you were asked before the game about how you thought some of the sexual allegations against you in 2017 might affect the way fans or women view.
I'm going to tell you one more time. I'm here for the Philly fans. I'm here for my teammates. Okay. I'm here for the Philly organization. And who cares what happened 50 years ago? You weren't even born. So you shouldn't be talking about it because you weren't born. And if you don't know a damn thing about it, don't talk about it.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you. This is the first time I've heard this. You brought this to attention to me this morning, and I was like, I wonder what he actually said. How bad could it be? It's bad. Yeah,
it's bad. It was so bad. They reported on SportsCenter that there was the question that was asked before the game was from a female reporter, and he basically dismissed her and then called her babe. And she said, "Oh, I'll sign 1,000 baseballs for you. I'm sorry, blah, 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 whatever." Yeah. I mean, and the allegations were that he had a sexual relationship with a 14-year-old. He said, "No, I didn't. She was 16. Okay, it's still statutory rape. Okay. Look, and so again, well, it's not about what he did as a human being. Ty Cobb wasn't a great human being. Listen, I'm not a big fan of Ty Cobb being in there either. Your baseball accomplishments can be recognized in the Hall of Fame. To me, Hall of Fames, Ring of Honors are reserved for people that don't embarrass the game as the individuals they are. Nobody's perfect. I'm not trying to be a hypocrite here. I shouldn't be anybody's Hall of Fame. But I mean, some of the things that Pete Rose has done and said are reprehensible. And the gambling thing's a real thing. I don't understand why people don't get that. You can't gamble in sports. It goes to the credibility of the game. If people are, and listen, the whole Calvin Ridley thing, I know it sounds stupid, but that was the NFL sending a message. Look, we're going to be in gambling supports our entire game, folks. But guess what? If the gamblers feel like guys are throwing games, we got no sport. We got nothing. All this money, all that the players are making, it all goes away. So we can't have that. That's why they sent such a strong message to him. And yes, it's the NFL protecting their money and prioritizing that over their support for domestic violence issues. Yes, it is. 100%, 1,000%. Yes, they care more about the money than they do about their public relations in terms of sexual abuse. That's a fact. You're still going to watch.
Yeah, I'm still.
But if you feel like the players are throwing games because they're gambling, you're not going to watch.
I'm still bothered by the answer. I'm just trying to digest and everything that he said there.
Yeah, you shouldn't be asking the question because you weren't born.
You weren't born. Like, that really matters. It's like, I can read what happened. There's timelines there. Yeah. There's articles. There's people that have covered this for years that are still alive, by the way.
Yeah,
Pete. So I don't like that. It's just a rude answer, in my opinion. And
of course it is.
It's just kind of how he's always been.
Zero remorse, zero anything.
So why should Major League Baseball feel obligated to let this guy back near the game?
Shouldn't. They shouldn't.
And
that's my point.
The fact that the Phillies thought that
Can you imagine the Hall of Fame ceremony? How drunk he would be and how the stupid things that would come out of his mouth.
And it's like, if you're the Phillies, it's like, how do you feel today?
Big mistake. Was it really worth it? Was
there a contingency of the fans there that were begging to see Pete Rose?
I'm sure there were. But, was it really worth it? You embarrassed your franchise again. Yeah,
it just seems like bad mojo to bring into that, to a team that's already, a franchise has already had a lot of bad mojo for the past decade, and it's like another stain on it, in my opinion.
Yeah, not good. Well, while we're at that, this curious story of Cale Gundy, this was bizarre in a weird way. So Oklahoma Sooners assistant head coach and receivers coach Cale Gundy announced late Sunday night that he was resigning from the program because of a word he said during a film session. Last week during a film session, I instructed my players to take notes. I noticed the player was distracted and picked up his iPad and read aloud the words that were written on his screen. The words displayed had nothing to do with football. One particular word that I should never, under any circumstances, have uttered was displayed on that screen. In the moment, I did not even realize what I was reading, and as soon as I did, I was horrified, Gundy said when explaining his resignation. He further added, I want to be very clear. The words I read aloud from that screen were not my words. What I said was not malicious. It wasn't even intentional. Still, I am mature enough to know that the word I said was shameful and hurtful, no matter my intentions. The unfortunate reality is that someone in my position can cause harm without ever meaning to do so. The specific words weren't specified in his statement. You can read his full announcement in the tweet below. Following Gundy's resignation, head coach Brent Venables released a statement and said in part, "It's with sadness that I accept Coach Gundy's resignation. The culture we're building in our program is based on mutual respect. Our staff is here to develop successful student athletes and also young men of character. As the leaders of this program, it's essential that we hold ourselves to the highest standards as we model for our players the type of men we want them to become." That's all fantastic, that statement right there. I just don't see how this warrants throwing away a lifetime career over a word that no white man should certainly ever utter. No question about it. But in this particular situation, and it's a word that obviously is completely. I don't understand the whole debate on it. I really don't. Why it's so widely used by everyone in the black community and every superstar rapper. But in this case, if somebody reads the words of somebody else who wrote it, I don't think there were a lot of black kids in that room that were horrified. I don't think that's a thing.
Well, from what I've read here from the Oklahoma reporters who are in the know, that a lot of current players were talked about too, and they said that they didn't really were offended of it, and
they weren't offended.
They wanted him to stay, but he felt like it was the best thing for him to do to step aside. And also,
come on, man.
Also telling there's a bunch of former players for Oklahoma who have spoke out, and specifically Joe Mixon, who played at Oklahoma there and from what was it, like 2015 to 2018 or something like that. And he put out a lengthy statement here on his Twitter. And he put here, Sooner Nation, this ain't right. And basically said that he meant so much to his career.
Thank you, Joe Mixon. Thank you.
Had been around him for, as he said, thousands of days in Norman.
Right.
And never saw anything like this and knows who he is as a person, and that this was just a.
Exactly. Yeah. A lifetime of being a wonderful man. That so much so that Joe Mixon would write that letter of endorsement that clearly shows who this person is. And this is just goes to this whole woke society that if you utter that word in any way, shape, or form, it shows some latent racist part, but yet your entire life could be lived in the right way. But if you utter that word, no, that does not absolutely cancel out a lifetime of great work that you've done with many black kids who support you in every way, and the players support you. And Cale Gundy, you got to understand, if you do this, you're validating this idea that if you just, in this situation, which nobody's offended, the people that were, most were not offended. The people in the room are not offended. If you do this, you're just validating this ridiculous idea that you can utter a word and your entire lifetime's work is just thrown out the window. That's patently ridiculous. And Cale needs to understand that. What you're doing is setting us back. You're not moving us forward in this situation. You're validating that, because people go, oh, see what happened with Cale Gundy? He resigned. And this person, if this happens again, did not. Come on. What are we doing here?
Does it feel like there was almost like somebody in that administration that was looking to get him out?
It's exactly what it sounds like. Exactly what it sounds like.
Which, I mean,
I'm sorry, Brent Venables. You accepting his resignation makes you part of the problem. You're going so overboard to validate this ridiculous notion, and you're gonna let this guy throw away a lifetime of work for this utterance and say that's okay. Because you're pandering is what you're doing, Brent Venables. Listen to your black players. Listen to the former players, Brent Venables. And stop being ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Well, I want to know, what about the player? Whoever the player was that had it on their iPad in the first place.
I guarantee you he's the last one that wants Cale Gundy to go.
Well, I just want to know, like, if it was so bad for Cale Gundy to have to step aside after 23 years.
Can we just say this out loud? That if you're writing it and somebody else reads what you wrote, who used the word?
I mean, that's the way I kind of thought about it. I mean,
not him. He's reading your words.
I'm not interested. Again, it's a tough. I understand that it's a tough road to go down, but in my opinion, 23 years of who you are, and that nobody has a bad word to say about you,
right?
And in one little moment where you're trying to honestly help that kid out,
right? And
you make one little error in the moment, and 23 years gets thrown down the drain,
and your head coach sanctions that,
and I don't know. And again, who's really upset about it?
Nobody.
I don't see anybody. To me, my barometer, if this was like a huge story, was that it would be all over these shows today, and that people would actually be having like a true conversation about it. But I don't see that taking place. So it doesn't look like to me, he didn't really need, if he hadn't resigned, I still don't think anybody would be calling for his resignation either way.
No. Well, it might have leaked out, at some point. And then, and that's probably what they're afraid of. Oh, you just let this pass. No, we didn't. We all discussed it and we got better from it. This doesn't make things better. It makes things worse. And I've always said this, folks, when real racism hits, and it's out there, obviously, it's not systemic in this country, in my opinion, but when it's out there, when those things happen, everybody just goes, oh, remember Juicy Smollett? Remember that? Remember, so when you make a big deal out of things that aren't real racism, you're crying wolf. And so when it really happens, you diminish it when it really happens, when the serious stuff happens. Like that, the strength coach, what is it, at Iowa, who then Urban Meyer hired. I mean, that guy had a history of being a racist and should have been gone a long time ago. But, of course, Urban Meyer hires him in Jacksonville. Ridiculous. That's real racism. Those are the people that need to be weeded out, not Cale Gundy. And here you're sanctioning this? That's silly. It's just silly is what it is. And we have way too much silliness going on here because it diminishes real racism when it happens. All right, we'll take another break. And when we come back, Rich Hollenberg's going to join us at 11:15. So we'll get into some more Buccaneers. We got some sound for you coming up with that. Some college football news as well. So stay with us. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucs, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by BAMMC.com. If you're looking to lose weight, they got some great personalized plans for you that you can use. They'll find out exactly what your allergies are to certain foods, what works best for you, what doesn't work for you, and they'll get you a personalized plan that not only work for you, but they'll do that if you want to do it with your spouse, your daughter, your son, whatever. Go in together and they'll get everything right and help you lose weight, not like some of these other fly-by-night chiropractors that are out there with certain things that, they'll give you a pill here or a pill there that will help your appetites be suppressed, but that's not going to help you in the long term. They do it right at BAMMC. So go in there. BAMMC.com is the website. Christopher Lugo and his team will get you right. That's BAMMC.com. All right, getting back to the Bucs a little bit. We're a couple of weeks into the training camp. The Dolphins are coming in on Wednesday and Thursday. We will be there for that as well. Looking very much forward to that, and being able to be there for the whole practices will be a little later in the day. So we're going to give our still 2-hour show that we're going to record that for you, and then we'll be back the following day to give you a full report on that particular practice. Also have some social media stuff for you as well. Over the weekend, Scotty Miller chatted with the assembled press. He's in a very interesting situation. He knows that there are 4 obviously guaranteed spots. So my guess is the Bucs are going to keep 7 wide receivers. So those final 3 spots are up for grabs. It's going to be a mix of obviously guys that can play special teams, which Scotty can and will. He can return. Jalen Dart is having a fantastic camp. Tyler Johnson's having a great camp. They got, obviously Brashard Perryman, Cyril Grayson up and down the line. They've got guys that can play. So it's a tough go right now. Scotty Miller knows that, and he's having a great camp. I think he's as healthy as he's been in a while. Had the toe injury last year that really kind of set him back. So let's listen into Scotty Miller as he chats with the assembled media.
Scotty, one of the first 2 days of camp, you caught this beautiful deep pass from Tom. Stood up and pounded your chest. It was this triumphant moment for you. Just what's it meant for you to be out here and be healthy again after last year?
Yeah, it feels good. I like to play the game with a lot of passion. The game means a lot to me, so I just try to have fun. And when I make a play, I just get excited about it because at the end of the day, we're out here having fun. So I love making plays like that.
And I remember you were chomping at the bit during mini camp. And you're like, I'm healthy, but they didn't really have you doing anything out there. You feel like you've been unleashed at this point. Yes, I can go out there and do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I had a really good spring in OTAs, and then I actually tweaked my hamstring a little bit for mini camp. That's why I wasn't out here. But I feel really good now. And like I said, just trying to go out there and make plays, show the coaches and the team what I can do. So.
Do you feel so far in this training camp that you've been able to showcase a little bit more of your skills as a receiver? We know you can go deep, but you've been doing a lot more in that part of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the coaches have been getting a good opportunity this year to do a lot of different things. In college, I used to play pretty much only in the slot and option routes and stuff like that. And then I haven't really been able to showcase that the last couple of years. But this year they've been giving me an opportunity to show those things. So I think that's one of the best part of my game that I just haven't been able. People might just a deeper guy. That's because they don't know what else I can do. So I'm just trying to show that I can be very versatile and do a lot of different things to help the team out.
Up on that. Now that Evans and Godwin and Julio Jones are sitting, you get a chance to put a lot more on film now, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Like today, I don't think any of them are practicing. So just got to take advantage of every rep and just try to be the best player, the best version of myself every single day.
What's it like being in that competition, right? Because they kind of have that established four.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't know how many receiver spots they're going to
Yeah.
get. And you were injured so much of last year with that foot injury. What's it like competing? There are very few balls that are on the ground right now. You guys are out there diving for it. And it looks like it's tough.
Yeah, no, everybody's going all out. Like you said, it's not a lot of spots available. There's 4 guaranteed, and then a couple up for grabs between a lot of really good players as well. So, that's something that as a receiver and as a player, you just can't really think about. You just go out there and grind and do the best you can and try to be your best self every day and just keep improving every single day. So that's really my mindset. I try not to think about down the road and what's going to happen. I just try to be the best player I can be, and I know it's going to work out at some point.
Is there a point or a moment throughout the offseason where you finally felt healed or healthy? Maybe it was after the hamstring injury or even before that?
At the end of the year last year, I really felt pretty good. I had the toe injury, but then I came back and I felt good. I didn't really get a chance to play until I think I played in the Rams game a lot that last game and made a couple plays. But so I had a good offseason. I felt good coming out, really healthy. Really all offseason, got to work out, train, make improvements on my body, and then tweak my hamstring. But that was only like a 3-week deal right at the mini camp. But I feel really good now. So,
What was your reaction? I asked a few people this. What was your reaction when you found out Tom was coming back? Right? Because you guys you guys have a very rare connection on that deep ball, right?
Yeah.
Like and that was really kind of the difference maker in those games you guys won.
Yeah.
Including the NFC Championship game in 2020. Like, what was your reaction when you found out he was coming back?
Yeah, it was awesome. I got so much appreciation of Tom, as we all do, and just what he's done for my career and just helped me become a better player, and just watching him work and how he goes about his business each and every day. But yeah, it was. I wasn't really expecting him to retire in the first place, so that kind of shocked me. Just because I know he had so much left in the tank, and he was playing at such a high level, and I know how competitive as he is, it would be tough for him to walk away when he's playing that well. But when he came back, I mean, I was just super excited, super stoked to get the chance to play alongside of him again.
We all knew he wasn't retiring.
Well, it was so I was injured when he came back for the for mini camp because he wasn't at OTAs, but all year so far in training camp, he's just been just fiery, competitive, same old Tom. Like he's just ready to go and compete, and he's just the best to ever do it. So it's just great to play alongside of him.
I always feel like he kind of sees himself in me, right? Because he can always relate to the later round draft picks, right?
Yeah.
6th round draft pick, and it's like I feel like he always has that soft spot for kind of that underdog, right?
Yeah.
Size guy.
Yeah, if you're doing it the right way. I mean, for him, it's about playing the right way, going about your business the right way, taking care of your body, knowing what you're doing, and he respects the guy that comes from the bottom. I think we were both 6th round picks. So I just try to go out and prove myself every day, and I think he likes guys like that. So.
And you earn his trust too in some of the biggest moments, which that's when it really counts.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about. So I just try to go out there every day, try to be where I'm supposed to be, make the play when it comes to me. Like you said, so he has the confidence in me in those big games to throw me the ball.
Yeah, I say this all the time. When Brady first got here, he and Scotty Miller had a great connection, and Antonio Brown coming in kind of canceled out his playing time that year. Then last year, the foot injury. If he gets back to playing the way he did in that early season with Tom Brady, again, an embarrassment of weapons for the Buccaneers. And you might say, well, we got all these other receivers. Why do we need Scotty Miller? Remember, late in the season, we were down to Cyril Grayson, and that was no cut on him, but the guy had never really played, and he, had some big plays. But again, you want to have as much depth as you can, because do we really think Mike Evans and Julio Jones hamstrings are going to be healthy the entire year? No, you're going to need some depth. Hey, can you cue up Harold Godwin, because the offensive line coach had some things to say about Robert Hainsey on Sunday and his offensive line. He has a lot of trust in Robert Hainsey, and it's just kind of good to hear what's going on up front. They've got some talent. I know the national media is like, oh, they have to replace the entire interior of the Bucs offensive line, which is true, but they've got some pretty damn good players there that can do it, guys that have played really well in this league, including Shaq Mason. So here's offensive line and assistant head coach Harold Godwin.
Just coming off the field, I thought it was a really good day of practice. I thought defense did a great job. Offense did a great job at times. So it was just a good overall practice of, iron sharpening iron. All right. But it was a good day overall. I like the way we made progress today.
What have you seen out of Robert Hainsey? Those are some big shoes he's got to step in right now.
He's doing good. I'm very pleased with what, he's done so far. Still got a long way to go. I trust him. He studies the tape. He wants to be good. So I feel good about him at that center spot.
Brutal competition in practice, right? Like and Akeem Nicks, that's not easy.
Yeah, that's a lot of weight. I just tell them sometimes when they get to pushing on you, sometimes you just got to hold on for dear life, because at some point they're going to try to put you on a ride, and you just got to take that ride, but just do your best to stop their momentum.
Coach, how about the progression of Luke Getsy? What have you seen from him so far in this training camp, especially since the pads have gone up?
I think the last couple of days he's gotten better. He's doing a better job of running throwing his hands in pass pro. Run game, he's been fine. You just got to think about this guy's played right side pretty much his whole college career. Now he's on the left. So he's trying to get acclimated, and he's done a nice job the last couple of days. But he's physical. He's smart. He's a all football type of guy, all right? He's watching football 24/7. Sometimes you got to tell him relax, calm down, because he's so paranoid that he's screwing something up. But he's going to be a good player in the long run.
Looks like things kind of got a little chippy out there today. Is that just the adage of guys getting tired of hitting on each other?
I think so. I just think that a lot of people are talking crap, which makes practice fun. It'd be good to get Miami in here in the next couple of days, but that's training camp. There's always going to be a squabble here or there, but that's just part of it. As long as we don't take it too far and make it personal, we're fine.
That's Harold Goodwin there, Bucs offensive line coach. And obviously he's got some talent to work with, no question about it. All right, we'll take a quick break. Rich Hollenberg is on deck. We'll join him in just a second, talk some Rays baseball. Stay with us. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Military veterans, are you struggling with alcoholism or substance abuse? Is it taking a toll on your relationships and your work life? Are you having trouble focusing? Constantly anxious? Well, you may not be surprised to know that your fellow military vets have your six. Heroes Mile is a new concept in rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized, preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Gold and Diamond Source. We're going to talk some Rays baseball with our man from Bally Sports, Rich Hollenberg, freshly back from the other known as Iceland. As you described it, the family vacation. The pictures were spectacular, my friend. So before we talk Rays baseball, let's do the Rich Hollenberg travel show and give us a review of Iceland.
Man, it was like being on another planet, JP. They call it the land of fire and ice, and we saw both extremes on that spectrum. Literally, we're on our way to the airport from our hotel, and this sweet elderly woman who was our taxi driver said, "Have you been able to witness some of the volcanoes around here?" We're like, "Sure." We were on bus tours. We did everything. Saw glaciers, saw volcanoes. She said, "Well, make sure you look out to the left on the way to the airport." And then I get a text when we get there, my sister texting me, "I just saw a news story that a volcano erupted in Reykjavik." I mean, it was beyond incredible. And as great as the pictures are, and thank you for saying that, they don't do it justice. Everyone should put it on their bucket list.
We have like a direct flight from Tampa now, right? So it's not that hard. You get there in a few hours.
I don't know. You might know something that I don't. We flew out of Orlando just
Okay.
because there were more options.
Yeah.
Orlando to Boston, and then Boston to Reykjavik. Boston to Reykjavik was like a 4.5-hour flight. Totally manageable.
Yeah, I've everybody. I've seen a lot of my friends go there, and everybody comes back and says it's way more than I thought it was going to be, and I had high expectations. So, and good family trip, huh? You got a lot. You did a lot of different things.
Yeah, I mean, listen. You remember Jason when he was literally like this big.
Yeah, yes.
He's going off to college this week. We're driving him up to UGA on Friday. So this week it starts school for all the kids around here. We're taking Jason up to college to start his freshman year at the end of the week. So it's a crazy time for sure.
All right. Well, crazy time for the Rays. I mean, we've got, so many players on the injured list, and it's kind of a weird time, but you're almost, even though the Rays just won their first series since the All-Star break, you're starting to see guys come back. I mean, Pete Fairbanks hitting 101 yesterday a few times. He looks tremendous. I mean, you got guys like Wander Franco, Ramirez, Manuel Margot, and dare I say, Tyler Glasnow is completely healthy, we're told. And if that guy gets in the rotation, so there's a lot of room for optimism right now, is there not?
I think there is. And, I remember us having this conversation before the trade deadline and saying, I don't think this team's going to make a bunch of moves. I don't think they're certainly not going to be sellers, but I don't think they need to be buyers, because I think right now, the way the Rays do it, at least, they are kind of dancing on that razor's edge of, let's hope that we get the players back that we're expecting to get back in September, and then rosters expand by a couple of players, and now you're going to get Wander Franco, you're going to get Harold Ramirez, maybe Manuel Margot. You can make the case that those are your three best offensive players before they went down with injuries. I mean, come on, that is a huge boon to this offense. So if they're just biding their time right now for the rest of August, they're doing a pretty damn good job of biding their time at 8 games over 500.
Part of the my frustration though with this team stems from what we saw yesterday with Rasmussen throwing 33 pitches and was perfect.
Yeah.
And you take him out, and here comes the bullpen that did a great job, but you worry about the bullpen being overused when you can got a guy that's ready to go 5, 6, 7 innings. What I know they're looking at total innings, but what's going on with those situations?
Well, I'll be completely honest with you, and I said this on our post-game show last night, JP. We were taken by surprise by that. We didn't know or expect for Drew Rasmussen to only go 3. To find out from Drew himself that was the plan. He didn't know exactly when, but he knew he wasn't going to be going 5 or maybe 6 innings. And it all has to do with the bigger picture. And to me, I endorse that, because that means that Kevin Cash and Pete Bendix and Eric Neander, who are meeting constantly, if not every day, have a bigger picture in mind and think that whatever moves they're making on a day-to-day basis right now in early August is to pay dividends in late September and in October. So that tells me they're confident that they're going to make the playoffs, and they're maybe even more confident that they can make some noise in the playoffs if they maintain what they have now. They can't afford any more injuries. So why not take every opportunity you can and keep these guys under either pitch counts or innings limits or whatever it is? Remember, Drew Rasmussen is still young. He has never pitched a full season as a starter. So he's entering uncharted territory already. Corey Kluber on the opposite end of that spectrum. They want to limit his innings because of how old he is and how many miles he has on his arm. So once that is out there, you kind of take a step back and you say, okay, they have a big picture in mind. If it came back and bit them yesterday, we'd be sitting here crying from the rooftops. What a blunder. What a mistake. What an idiot move. He had a no-hitter through 3. Why not leave him in at least one more inning? The fact is that they've managed the bullpen since the All-Star break. Granted, they don't have a 500 record since the All-Star break, but they've been able to manage the bullpen better. And you mentioned Pete Fairbanks coming back. Yanni Chirinos is a name that we have almost forgotten about. He could be back. I don't think we're going to see Tyler Glasnow as a starter in any way, shape, or form.
Okay.
The best I think we could see, maybe he's an opener. Maybe the Rays go back to that strategy and use him, facing 1, 2, 3 to start a game. But
or 3 innings, like Rasmussen did.
I mean, and that would be, honestly, that would be more than I would expect. 3 innings would be gravy to see Tyler Glasnow out there. But you don't put anything past him. I mean, he is an absolute freak in how quick he's been able to come back, and what we've seen from him before, how he, has the body of an Adonis. Well, it's a baseball Adonis.
Yeah.
And he's able to do things that mere humans aren't able to do. So that 1 inning is going to be similar to when David Price got called up as a rookie in 2008. And people were like, what are they going to do with this guy?
Right.
He's got a golden arm. And they used him, kind of in a relief mode in a short stint. I think that's what I would expect if Tyler Glasnow is thrown for the big club come late September, early October.
Hey, Rich, we talked about the injuries to the lineup, and, Brandon Lowe came back recently, and I think he's been, fantastic, what they needed to provide a jolt.
As good as he's ever been.
Yeah, and I came across this stat, and this is one of the most insane stats
This is crazy.
I've ever came across. Career WRC plus leaders among second basemen in the last 100 years.
Yeah.
Rogers Hornsby, Jackie Robinson, Joe Morgan, and Brandon Lowe.
Yeah.
That's the 4. That's the 4. And those 3 guys, I think, were pretty good when they played. So, I mean, have we underrated the value of Brandon Lowe for this ball club and just in general in baseball history?
I don't think so. And obviously, those numbers are fun to talk about. But Brandon Lowe would be the first and the second and the third to tell you he is no Joe Morgan. He is not Rogers Hornsby. Here's what, just for those of you who are watching and listening, WRC is weighted runs created. Okay. When Brandon Lowe is good, and when he's not striking out every other at bat, and when he's not in April and May and most of June, which is when he has struggled traditionally this year, but going back, you look at last year's numbers too. When he is right, he is as good as any second baseman in baseball. He is as good as any player in baseball offensively. Kevin Cash said it, and it wasn't damning him with faint praise. He said what he does is ridiculous. And you're like, really? Brandon Lowe is ridiculous? That might be a little bit of hyperbole. 39 home runs last year. And he basically did it in almost half of a season because in April and May and into June, he was trash. And he'd be the first one to tell you that. But all of a sudden, he clicks it into gear and gets locked in. And then it's not a hot streak. It's just the best version of Brandon Lowe that you could see. And that's what we're seeing now. He was an all-star earlier in his career. He finished in the top 10 in AL MVP voting twice in his career already. So in that sense, Nick, maybe you're right. Maybe people in general do underrate just how good Brandon Lowe could be. What I would love more than anything is to see that over a span of 150 games in a season. We haven't quite seen that yet, but I'll take what we're getting from B. Lowe right now.
Yeah, in the postseason as well.
Postseason would be good.
I think it would, because I think he has, close to like 50 strikeouts, I think, in the postseason so far. So, but yeah, he can carry a lineup when he gets hot. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
Rich Hollenberg joining us here. Randy Arozarena yesterday made perhaps the most nonchalant 2-run homer saving. I tweeted this out. Somebody, has he learned nothing from KK?
Yeah.
I mean, when you make a play like that, you got to go to the ground, dramatically show the ball, and then just, and then, when everybody gets over there, get up and run off. But he was just like, yeah, I just stole that. I'll run back in right now.
Yeah.
What a play. What a play. And it saved the game.
Again, people forget that last year, Randy Arozarena not only won American League Rookie of the Year, but fellas, he was a finalist for a Gold Glove last year.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be in that category this year, but I will say this. He is a talent that is on par with any young talent in the American League, if not all of baseball. What he tends to do is, honestly, he squeezed the sawdust out of the bat handle in his first couple of at-bats, and he's looking to hit a 5-run home run every time he's up. If he can kind of get his mind right early in the game and lock in the way that we've seen him lock in the postseason a couple of years ago and most of last year when he won that Rookie of the Year award, he's all-star caliber, MVP type caliber guy. He's not a 20-20 guy. He then becomes a 30-30 guy because the home runs will come by virtue of him not looking to hit a home run in every at bat. And I think that's what we're starting to see now from Randy Arozarena. His last 12, 13 games or so, I think if you go back and watch some of these at bats, fellas, you're seeing him go up the middle. You're seeing him take what the pitcher gives him, maybe let the ball travel a little bit more, go opposite field. He's settling, if not content, to hit a single and move the runners around instead of trying to swing for the fences and get a 2 or 3 run home run. And then you get him on base, and it's what I've said all season long: Randy giveth and Randy taketh away. So he's going to end up with 20 dingers and 20 steals. He already has 20 steals and 23, I think, doubles. But he'll end up with 20 home runs. I'm convinced of it this year again. Unfortunately, he might also end up with 20 caught stealing as well, and that would be unprecedented.
Rich, the other problem for the Rays right now is they face what is the hardest schedule in baseball the last couple months here. So they need to get those guys back. And, can you manage the starting pitching? Can you have guys like Drew going 3 innings and Kluber and even Shane McClanahan getting pulled after 71? I mean, at some point they got to play. And right now, from here on in, there are no let-ups in the schedule. There's going to be a lot of Boston, a lot of Toronto, a lot of New York. How do they switch it into gear now and then also welcome back some of these players? And we got to remember too, baseball, it's not kind of like football where, you tweak an ankle, you come back in a couple of weeks and you're the player you were. Baseball is all about timing and getting your rhythm, and that just takes time at the major league level. So can we even count on these guys that are coming back that we need to really juice this offense being good and being ready to go? I mean, I know Wander Franco's an other planet type of player, but the expectations have to be somewhat muted, do they not?
JP, I think you're right on the money. As a matter of fact, I would go as far as to say I think that is the biggest question for the rest of this season. The Rays have 50 some odd games left. I think it's 54 games, something like that,
right,
left in the season. I think from now until the first week in October when the regular season ends, that is the biggest question. How are these new pieces that are going to be entered back into the lineup and into the clubhouse, how is everything going to mesh? 2 things that give me some optimism about that is Kevin Cash has an uncanny ability at pushing the right buttons. He's not going to push them all the right times every time, but he has an uncanny ability to push the right buttons in terms of lineup moves and changes. Some of them look like head scratchers. Why are we pinch hitting G-Man Choi against the left-handed pitcher yesterday late in the game and it's scoreless when he's hitting 317 against lefties? Well, what happens is everything worked out for the best in that 9th inning yesterday. So again, I have an intrinsic trust that Kevin Cash is going to push the right buttons in terms of lineup construction when these new guys get back. And then it's a good problem to have because your lineup gets that much thicker and you're able to give some guys a little bit of time off when right now you're forcing Brandon Lowe, although he loves this situation. He's going to play every single day. You're going to give him some time at DH so he doesn't have to be in the field all the time. I get that. But the biggest question, to your point, is how is everybody going to fit in, and how are these injured players going to hit the ground running in mid-September and early October when we really need everybody to be playing at their best? All I know is that is the kind of problem I would have rather than sitting there and going, man, you look at the Rays dugout and you see Wander Franco not playing, Harold Ramirez not playing, and all these other guys in the bullpen who are still injured. Remember, we haven't talked about JT Shagway and JP Fireeisen and these other arms that are due to come back. All of a sudden, the rest of Major League Baseball, fellas, is looking at the Rays going, I hope we do not have to face this team in the playoffs.
Yeah, I really feel like it's going to go one way or the other. It's going to be like the Braves, catching fire and running through the playoffs and like, what just happened? And it's not like these guys aren't talented. They have the talent to do it. To come back and play at that level is tough to ask, but it happens. And at least we know they're going to be fresh. They're going to be they won't be tired. So that who knows what happens? That's what makes these last couple of months really, really exciting. I think we'll see Aranda come up and maybe some of those guys from AAA that have been doing so well. You just never remember Randy Arozarena. Who counted on him to have the playoffs that he had a few years ago? Nobody. But I think that's where the Rays are right now. Like you said, I think the other teams are like, they don't look great, but man, for some reason, I just don't want to face them. I just don't want to see them.
No matter who is healthy or not healthy for the Rays. Teams hate playing the Rays. That is a good situation. That's something good about Tampa Bay. And just going back to your point, about the schedule, it's a gauntlet in September. I mean, it's basically all AL East, and then you also have 7 against the Houston Astros.
Right.
18 games in a row, I think, a day off, and then they end the season with a 9-game road trip. Schedule makers, not kind to Tampa Bay. But the silver lining in that is they just finished a series with the lowly Detroit Tigers, and they took 3 out of 4 from the Tigers. They still have a losing record against the AL Central. The Rays are 4 games over 500 against the American League East.
Yeah,
so
they played better against them.
The pressure pack, time of the year in September. It's always pressure packed when you're playing these teams in division. And so far, the Rays have played really well against teams in their division.
Yeah, it's weird. The big series they get up for, they play their best baseball. So maybe it's best that they have the toughest schedule going through, because it certainly gets their attention, and that's when they're at their best. All right, Rich, great stuff. Tell us what's coming up on pregame show and all the stuff you got going over there.
Well, a much-needed day off, because there won't be many of those for the rest of the season. But I'm just excited to see the Rays in Milwaukee. This year, I know we're 2 years removed from that shortened season, but the Rays haven't been to so many of these ballparks, just like so many of these National League teams haven't been to Tropicana Field in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. I don't know the exact date when the last time the Rays were in Milwaukee, but when they were, it was still Miller Park. And it's not Miller Park anymore. It's one of the most underrated stadiums in all of baseball. Put it on your baseball bucket list. I've been there before. It is awesome. So I'm just excited to see how they stack up, because as Milwaukee showed us when they came to Tropicana Field, they could bash the baseball, and they do it at home better than they do it on the road. Willie Adames just had a home run again. His 22nd of the year, I think, in yesterday's game for the Brewers. They won't see Corbin Burns, so that's good news, but they will see Brandon Woodruff, and he is a dynamite pitcher. So the Rays will have their work cut out for them, but all we need is take 1 of 2. If you get 2 out of 2, that's gravy. If they take 1 of 2 in this 2-game series in Milwaukee, it's all good, because they already have 3 of 4 on the road trip so far, taking 3 out of 4 in Detroit.
All right, Rich, great stuff, my friend. We'll chat with you down the line. Of course, be watching on the pregame and postgame show. Thanks, buddy.
All right, see you, boys.
All right, yeah, you got. By the way, follow him on Facebook and Instagram, and go look at those pictures from Iceland. It's unbelievable. I got to get there in the next 12 months, no doubt about it. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll give you some more Bucs stuff, some more Bucs sound, and some other NFL notes and some college football notes as well. All the practices are going on. The Seminoles had a scrimmage over the weekend, so we'll catch you up on all that when we come back. Stay with us. Italiano Insurance has been serving and working in our community for over 60 years, and it's not just about insuring all the pieces of your life. Italiano is as much a part of Tampa Bay as the Cuban sandwich, Gasparilla, and our Bucs, Lightning, and Rays. They're also active supporters of great charities like the Humane Society, Metropolitan Ministries, and local pediatric cancer centers. Hey, we all need insurance, so do business with a local company with a commitment to our community. Don't call some 1-800 number. Call Italiano and be greeted by one of your neighbors. That's 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com. Named the Small Business of the Year by the Tampa Chamber. 813-877-7799. Cryptocurrency is all the rage today. The market cap for the industry is now over $1 trillion. And you read about people making millions of dollars, right? You want to get in, but have no idea what to do? Or maybe you dabbled a bit and you want to unlock the real money-making opportunities and don't know how to do it. There are over 10,000 tokens and thousands of decentralized finance exchanges to navigate. So what do? You go to DeFiLava.com. The folks at DeFiLava.com are in Tampa Bay, and they work with you directly to set up custom accounts, answer all your questions, and provide market analysis. Decentralized finance and cryptocurrencies are here to stay and will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com. The world economy is in chaos, and mortgage rates are going to go higher in the next few months. Meanwhile, home values are up 24% in some neighborhoods of Tampa Bay. Do not miss this opportunity to refinance your home, get some much-needed cash to handle skyrocketing inflation, and fill up your car. Contact Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Even if you've recently refinanced, Scott can make the deal work because he charges no lender fees like the big boys do. He will also shop your loan around to dozens of lenders and get the best rates and terms. Let them compete for your business. The big banks charge huge lending fees. Customer service is simply a phone number with endless wait times. Scott is local and will personally take your call. Here's his cell phone number. Tell him JP said you could call. 813-294-7595. Scott's done over 3,000 loans, including many coaches and athletes. He will answer your calls and concerns and give you workable strategies to be smart with your money. Reduce your payments. It's not just what you make, it's what you keep. 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. The health professionals at Bay Area Modern Medical Center want you to know it's time to commit to a new healthy lifestyle. It's literally a matter of life and death. 42% of Americans are considered obese, and being obese made you 3 times more likely to be hospitalized by COVID. So getting in shape is not just about looking better, it's about living much longer. At Bay Area Modern Medical Center, they take a very different approach to primary care. It's personalized preventative medicine. Christopher Lugo and his experienced staff are proactive in looking at your issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle, building up your immune system, not destroying it with poor nutrition and bad habits. So call for an appointment, maybe change your primary care, and get on a journey back to full health and a happy life. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Gold and Diamond Source. Guys, you know you like jewelry too. So if you're looking for some of those fashion rings or gold chain or maybe a baller watch, Rolex, Tag, any of them, they have a great selection there at the Gold and Diamond Source. If you're looking to get engaged, obviously, that's the place to go. They've got a great selection, all the diamonds handpicked by Steve Weintraub himself, and you can trust them to be the cut, clarity, carat that they say that it is. Not all places are as honest. Trust me on that. But they've been there for decades. So you go in there knowing that you're going to get what you pay for and you'll get the best price. And the service is phenomenal. If you have any old gold jewelry that you're not wearing, bring that in. They will give you cash. You can buy something there nice and shiny or walk the cash, whatever you want to do with that. They'll pay you top dollar. So many things to do at the Gold Diamond Store. Design something. If you want something special, something, a name or a number, you can do that too. Anything to do with jewelry is right there at the Gold and Diamond Source. 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamonds.com. Oh, yes, let me get my my StreamYard back up there so you can see our beautiful faces there. There we are. Nick Geddes joining me as well. I don't know if you know this, but Florida State's first game is about 3 weeks away against Duquesne. And then it's the Labor Day showdown with LSU, which I'm going to with my son. We're going to have a great time in New Orleans. That will be fun. But they had the first scrimmage over the weekend, and the running backs certainly showing out, according to Kurt Weiler from the Osceola, read his piece, friend of the show. Rodney Hill, a freshman, looks like he might get some playing time at running back. Lawrence Teofili from, I believe it is Largo, also playing well. They've got Tashawn Ward coming back. The offensive line looks better than they've ever had it in years and years, which will go very far towards helping them. Tell you what, if you're a Florida State fan right now, you got to be optimistic about the talent levels picking up, and hopefully Mike Norvell has them playing some good football in a couple of weeks. Can't believe it's starting already. Thank God.
Yeah, I'm really getting excited here. And you buried the lead, by the way. You talked about FSU playing Duquesne. Do you know what the big game is in week 0?
What is that?
It's Vanderbilt in Hawaii.
Vanderbilt in Hawaii. Who knew that was a big game?
I tell you what, I see so many college football fans that are like, "Oh, I can't wait for college football. We get Vanderbilt in Hawaii, and I'm going to sit here and watch every second of it." No, you're not. No, you're not. First of all, that game starts at 10:30 Eastern time. No, you're not.
When is that
watching
game?
That's the same day that FSU plays Duquesne. There's, I think, 12 games in the schedule.
Is that August 27th?
August 27th. You have Nebraska and Northwestern are playing in Dublin, Ireland.
Hey, how about that?
I think that's probably the best game of the weekend. But everybody
says college football like Nebraska and Northwestern in Dublin.
Yeah. It's not a great.
I understand when the Irish go there,
Yeah.
Notre Dame, but those teams?
No. Week 0 is not a great slate, but week 1, my goodness, the slate
It's
of
the
games.
best week 1 we've ever had by far.
It's
in my
fantastic. Labor Day weekend, the amount of games that we're going to have there. I mean, besides FSU and LSU, I think it's Oregon and Ohio State.
Yes.
That are going to play each other. I think we have Cincinnati and Arkansas, which is a pretty interesting one there.
Yes,
Two teams that don't play often. So it's going to be great.
Who's Georgia playing? They've got a big game.
Georgia has a big game as well. I'm trying to find that here in the schedule. I'll look for that here in a second.
Yeah, I saw the list of it is really good stuff.
And even BYU versus our own USF here. That's a big game there.
Yeah. Utah, Florida.
I mean,
That's
there
a
is
huge
some
game.
great games to open up the season in week 1.
Yeah. I don't know who Miami's playing. I think Miami has a big game.
Oh, it's Notre Dame and Ohio State and Georgia and Oregon, actually.
Yeah, that's
what it is.
Yeah, some huge games. And that's why I think this year is really interesting for the state schools because USF, I think, that's going to be a very, very interesting season and opener for USF. Jerry Bohannon, who's going to be there. It's Gary Bohannon. Gary Bohannon, the transfer from Baylor. He's going to win the job. He's getting all most of the number 1 reps. He's a legit big time quarterback is exactly what this team needs in terms of a leader. He's a serious football guy. I think Jeff Scott's got a little something for they're not, I don't think they're going to win the league, but I think they can definitely get to a bowl game and get this program back on track. They've got a host of great transfers coming in. Their defense should be so much better than last year, especially up front. So I'm excited about USF. I'm excited about FSU. I mean, this is, it's been a couple of years now since the full COVID year. Mike Norvell has added a lot of talent. I think just from a coaching standpoint, this team played so much harder last year. They looked like they had the fight back in them. That comeback against Notre Dame, beating Miami. They just played harder. They played smarter. I'm really interested to see how good they can be. And I think they can beat LSU. I think that's going to be closer than the experts think.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, you're playing obviously essentially on the road in that game, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough environment.
FSU is sold their allotment of 30,000 tickets. So
it's better than playing in Death
we'll
Valley.
Be representing. Oh,
better
hell
than playing
yeah.
in Death Valley.
Hell yes.
But I mean, I'm a bit higher on LSU than other folks are because I just feel like there's so much like negativity for whatever reason around LSU right now and Brian Kelly. But the guy wins everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
He's a program shifter. You talk about where Cincinnati was before he got there, Notre Dame before he got there, the way LSU's in right now. I think they're going to be a much improved team. And they got this guy, Jaden Daniels from Arizona State, who's a really electric two-way kind of dual threat kind of guy. I think he's going to have a really good year. So this is not going to be an easy game for FSU, but it's a showcase for them regardless and back in the public eye. And I'm looking at that wide receiving group for FSU because last year that was their weakness. They have not had talent at that position in years. To refresh everybody's memory, they brought in, Micah Pittman from Oregon.
Yeah, I've heard great things
about him. Johnny Wilson, a big target from Arizona State. Second year from Malik McLean, who probably is going to be wide receiver 1. So right there, you have 3 guys.
Deuce Spann made a couple of big plays.
Deuce Spann, another guy they brought in. So I'm looking forward to it. And then the quarterback, I mean, Jordan Travis, I know a lot of people, I think I saw he's the number 1 quarterback in the country on passes 10 to 20 yards of any quarterback in the country last year. That was Jordan Travis.
He came in and when he first started playing, I was like, he was a very raw passer, but he has really worked on his passing. His deep ball is as good as anybody's in the game. He's just, he just seems to, at least in the past couple of years, the easier throws, he just seems to be not as consistent as he needs to be. But all of that's getting better. His mechanics are getting better. His leadership is unquestioned.
Oh, yeah.
The guy's a baller. He's a tremendous runner of the football, and now we'll finally have some time to sit in the pocket and and find some receivers downfield. I just having an offensive line. I was watching some of them the other day in practice, and not doing much, but just the way they look. They look so much more athletic. They're so much bigger. There are years past, I was like, my God, that looks like a D2 offensive line, and they played like it too. So I think there's definitely room for optimism for FSU, but they still got to go out and do it. And until they win consistently, Mike Norvell's going to be questioned.
I want them to beat the teams that they should beat. I don't want to see
exactly
when you go up against Boston College, especially this year, it's in Tallahassee. I need you to win that game. I need Boston College to be an automatic victory again. I need Georgia Tech to be an automatic victory again, especially
Wake Forest.
Doak Campbell. Well, Wake Forest is a good football team. That's going to be. They got it at home this year, but that's a tough team for them to play against. Syracuse, I don't care where you're playing Syracuse, you need to demolish that opponent.
Yeah.
No slip ups against Duquesne. No slip-ups against Louisiana without Billy Napier there. Probably going to be a rebuilding year for them. They just need to win those games right there. And how many is that right there? Is that 5 that I just pointed out?
Yeah.
That's 5 wins right there that I need FSU to get, and I need you to steal 2 against the meteor schedule and get to 7 wins. That's all I'm asking.
They got Florida at home, Miami on the road. I just think that LSU game is so key for them.
Yeah.
Just to get confidence back and that you can play with the big boys. I just think that's one of the they just need to get the swag back. They get to get their swagger back.
Yeah.
And that's, when you don't do that unless you beat these teams. It's great to come back from 18 down against Notre Dame. It's a great rally. It's something you can build on, but you got to win the games. You got to win the games. And especially against an SEC opponent like that, it just serves notice that, it obviously helps recruiting, and they've got to get that swagger back and get that brand back because, it's an important time in college football. If they're going to move into another conference, they just can't be doing 5 and 6 wins a year and not going to bowl games. This is bowl games. It's just not. That's not an option at this point.
Yeah, and you get the Clemson game at home as well, which I'm very much so looking to that matchup. I think FSU should be. Last year they gave Clemson all they could handle. FSU should have won that game against Clemson last year. Remember that? They were that close.
Yeah.
And Jermaine Johnson almost took it over by himself. And I guess that's another big storyline is there's no Jermaine Johnson this year in that defense. So who's going to be that guy? Is it going to be Jared Verse, who's one of the best?
That's what everybody's talking about.
In?
Everybody's talking about it. I don't think you're not going to find another transfer like that, though. That's not happening.
No.
So, very excited about what FSU's got cooking. Florida's the Gators are a very interesting study. I think it's going to be tough for Billy Napier this year. They got to replace a lot of players on defense, a defense that wasn't that good anyway. I think this is going to be a bit of a tough year for the Gators. They've got obviously playing an SEC schedule every week. It's going to be difficult. I think Anthony Richardson is obviously tremendously talented, but he's in the new scheme in the first year. I don't think their receiver core is as strong as it's been. I think their offensive line's probably as good as it's been in a while. That's good with Richard Courage from Cambridge Christian and some of the other guys they got up front. But for the most part, I think there's a lot of question marks when it comes to the Gators this year.
Their offense, because I'm a big Anthony Richardson guy, and I think he's going to have a fantastic year, and I also think that he's going to be a guy that could be a sleeper in the first round of the draft next year. But you talk about the production they've lost in the receiving group. First of all, tight end Kamori Gamble, who was always rock solid, he's no longer there. He's at UCF now, which is a great pickup for them.
That's interesting.
Running back, how about that? They had a nice duo with Malik Davis and Damian Pierce. They're both gone. And so there's also, you got to take some off of Anthony Richardson's plate, obviously. Billy Napier is going to want to run the ball, but who's going to be that guy to step up there? So there are some questions.
Right.
There are some questions with Florida. Defensively, they were in shambles last year. And of course, the SEC schedule and everything, how are they going to stack up there? It's going to be a long process for Billy Napier. But again, I think he's made the right hires around him. They've done well on the recruiting trail since he's gotten there. So I think Florida right now, a realistic expectation at this point is probably 6 wins at best for them.
Yeah, Naquan Wright, who had a big hand in that went over Florida State. He is back. They got Montrell Johnson Jr. from Louisiana. He's a guy that people are raving about as a running back, and obviously knows the system. Is an established player in college football. So I think he'll get a lot. He'll get a lot of play. Former 5-star Lorenzo Lingard and true freshman Trevor Etienne will also be in the backfield mix. So they've got some players, but again, it's putting it all together, with a very challenging schedule to start off with Utah. It's FSU added that Duquesne game, and I think that's going to be big for them to just get out there on the field, just like a glorified practice, and just get some of the details down before you go on the road to play in a very loud environment. Obviously, in the Superdome, won't be as loud as normal, but there'll be plenty of FSU fans there. I know a lot of FSU fans that are going, and it seems like a little bit of a rebirth for the program. I cannot wait. Cannot wait for some tailgating action going on. That's the epitome of college football. My favorite show. A few things I love to watch on the ESPN.
What show is that?
College Football Game Day.
College Football Game Day, which Lee
Best show
Corso,
on
by the way,
television.
happy birthday. 87.
Is he really?
87 years old.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Lee
birthday,
Corso.
Lee. Still kicking, still going to be part of College Game Day's
That's
coverage.
awesome.
That's when you know it's real. When College Game Day starts and I see that crew of Herb Street and Corso and Desmond Howard and Chris Fowler, which is one of the few things that we have not messed with in so long. We don't mess with that panel. Please don't mess with that panel any longer.
Yeah.
That's when you know it's back.
Okay, a couple golf notes. The big story yesterday in golf was not that Joo Young Kim, who wants to be called Tom Kim, 61 to win by 5 yesterday at the Wyndham Championship. He's the first PGA golfer born in the 2000s to win a tournament. He looks so young, but damn, does he have game. Holy crap, that kid has got game. I guess he wants to be known as Tom Kim because Thomas the Tank Engine was where he got his name, Tom. My son loved Thomas the Tank Engine. I spent a lot of money on Thomas the Tank Engine. Great play.
Thomas the Tank Engine.
You don't know what Thomas the Tank
You talking
Engine
about
is?
Thomas the Train?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was a big Thomas the Train guy too.
Yeah.
The whole getup.
Yeah.
Did you ever take him to the little Thomas the Train fair that they used to do?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
have
We
those
did all of that
pictures.
stuff.
You're talking about Thomas the Train, the Tank Engine.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Thomas the Train.
No, it's Thomas the Tank Engine.
No, it's Thomas the Train.
His original name, though.
I'm typing this in right now into Google. Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yeah. Look it up.
Wow, I did not know that.
See? Yeah, we had the whole big table, the whole night. Oh, yeah, that was a big thing in the house. Cullen was a huge Thomas the Tank Engine guy. But yeah, but the big story was Nick Faldo.
Yes.
Saying goodbye. Very emotional. Couldn't get out many words.
No.
he was crying like a baby. But 16 years in the booth, and he's off to retire in Montana. Not going back to the UK.
No.
Given the choices, Montana looks really, really good. But a great career for Sir Nick Faldo.
Yeah, and now we get ready for the FedEx Cup playoffs here,
Right.
Which I believe we got the official standings that came out yesterday. Of note, Sam Burns, back-to-back winner of the Valspar, number three in the rankings behind Scotty Scheffler and Cameron Smith. So very, very interesting. I'm very excited this year, probably more so than ever for these FedEx Cup playoffs.
Now, the live golfers will not be playing.
I do not believe so. There's all this lawsuit stuff going on.
Yeah.
It's getting hairy
Which I
now.
think they may win that lawsuit. I think they may get the temporary injunction, and I think they'll be able to play. That's my guess. There's too much at stake there for them to not allow them to play while this is all being decided. And, they certainly have a case. I don't think there's any question about that. I'm not sitting here supporting live golf, but laws are the laws. Is there antitrust exemptions here? Probably. I mean, antitrust laws being violated. I think they have a good case, and I think that's why they'll get the injunction and they'll be playing, which honestly is probably best for golf fans. I mean, we want to see Dustin Johnson. Who else is on that tour that we really want to see? Patrick Reed, DeChambeau, Koepka. Yeah, I mean, they need to be part of it. As much as I hate to say it, they need to be part of it for it really to have the impact that it should have. Those guys need to be part of it. I mean, for golf fans. So if they win that one injunction, I'm not going to freak out about that. It's probably going to be best for golf fans. Although I still have a hard time watching golf in September. I know they've moved it up a little bit, but I just when football starts, I just have a real hard time
But the
watching
ratings
golf.
are doing it though. The ratings for not Wyndham, the one that was last week was the Rocket Mortgage.
Yeah.
And there was really nobody in that tournament besides Tony Finau that was in the name, or Patrick Cantley. and the ratings I think were like over 2 million for the Sunday, which is pretty good for that tournament.
It's
and then
great for that tournament.
And you compare it to Live Golf's tournament, and it was like
nobody's watching that.
77,000 people on the YouTube stream.
Well, they have no real major outlet. But I still look. Everybody's got YouTube. You can watch it if you want to.
Nobody's going out of their way to watch that on YouTube. They need
exactly.
You're going to have to get a TV deal before we can start talking about them as a viable commodity.
But that's the thing is they don't need to be a viable financial commodity.
They don't. But
I mean, for the players, do they even care that they're not on TV? No, they don't care. Just give me the money.
They banded together as like, we're the Outlaws. We're going to stick together regardless of what happens.
But we want to go play in the FedEx Tour because we want to get our money. All right, our thanks to Rich Hollenberg who joined us today. Great job, Nick Geddes. We'll be back out at Bucs practice tomorrow and, of course, covering the joint practices with the Dolphins as well. So keep it here for all your non-corporate media takes. As we love to say, are very independent here. We keep it real and tell it like it is, folks. We thank you for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page, our Apple and Spotify podcast as well. Follow us at FanStreamJP, at the JP Peterson Show, at Nick Geddes News, and our Instagram as well. We will see you tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.